Hello, digital art students. It's Mr. House. Today we're going to take a look at the tutorial 3D scene where you create a stack of money, which is kind of exciting. So when you click on 3D scene, it takes you to a link on the Adobe Inspire page. This tutorial is a bit difficult, but it's not out of your reach. When you get to this, the first thing you're going to do is download this. So I click on this and it starts downloading 3D scene. Once you see it down here, click on it and it automatically unzips. And basically zipping is a way to compress a lot of information. Once that happens in downloads, you'll see a folder here called 3D scene. This is the one you want to click and drag right onto your desktop. You can double click on it, and in there you will see a file called start file. Open that one up. When you open it up, you see a puzzle piece set here. And the first thing they have you do is switch your essentials. This little drop menu up here is the style of windows that you see on Photoshop. It's the way Photoshop looks. So we're going to click on this and choose 3D. And now we see a 3D menu up here as well as our layers. And so the first thing you'll want to do is turn this money off. Next, we'll go back to 3D. And right away, you see this create new 3D object. Our source is the selected layer. That's what we want. Let's make sure we have it. Yeah, we've selected our vector smart object, and we're going to create a 3D extrusion right here of this puzzle piece. Okay, so all of these steps are written out in detail on the tutorial page, but it's quite complicated, so I'm hoping you'll follow along with me, and then you can pause this and check with the steps on the Adobe website. So I'm going to click Create. And if your computer comes up with an error, like it says there's a Photoshop processing error, you need to save, shut Photoshop down, quit it, and then restart, and that should work. Now, right away, you see this 3D grid here, and you get a sense of space. What I want you to do is make sure you're clicked on Current View. Current View should be made blue. And now you see this little orbit tool here. I can click and drag and move the view around a bit. And I'm going to take a view like this. Okay. Next, under Vector Smart Object, and if you see it like this, collapse and choose Vector Smart Object Front. And actually what you want to do is click on the Vector Smart Object. There we go. So we have Vector Smart Object chosen. And under Shape Preset, we're going to choose the bevel. And if you hover over it, it'll say bevel. Click on that. And you'll see right away that it has applied this bevel to the shape of the puzzle pieces. Next, we're going to change the way this looks by choosing cap. And it affects a change there. Next, we're going to change the bevel width down to 8%. Right there. And now that bevel has reduced in size, it's looking a little more realistic. What we're going for is something that looks like puzzle pieces. So now I click on the contour drop menu and choose this round contour here. And now you can see that it's really starting to look refined. Okay, next, I want you to hover over this vector smart object until you see rotate. And it can be a little tricky, but once you see rotate, click and drag, and you're going to start turning it slowly so that the puzzle pieces are on the top side. And eventually you'll get to 90 degrees, or very close to 90. So we are ready to apply a texture. So now I'm going to choose the Vector Smart Object Extrusion is what this says down here. So it's the third sublayer down, and they tell us to click the drop menu here on Diffuse, and we're going to edit a new texture. Now, right away, I see something is wrong here because the texture of the puzzle pieces should have come up. So let's close this and go back. And I'm going to click on this surface here and try this again. Now that tells me this is Vector Smart Object Front. So I guess that's the one I want. Click on the drop menu, edit texture, and it'll come up with this warning that you're going to apply this to multiple places. That's okay. Now this is what I want to see. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on layers, and I need to add the money to this file, and you'll notice it created a new Vector Smart object and a new file. And so I'm going to click back over here, turn this off, turn this on, select the layer, and holding the command key I click on the picture of the $100 bill, and it selects it. Now I can go to Edit, Copy, switch back to here, and Edit, Paste. And the layer of the money comes up. Now, for some reason, if your money is a smaller size and it's in the middle here, click and drag your corners out so that they fit the size of the puzzle. Most of you should see your money come in at the exact size of the puzzle piece. With this layer selected, the money layer, go up to 3D, and I've just created, I transformed that money, and it's waiting for me to hit return. So if you see a menu come up with everything grayed out, you probably have an active transform. Press return, and I'm ready to go. From the 3D menu, come down to Create Painting Overlay. Choose Wireframe, and up comes a wireframe representation of that puzzle piece. Now you'll turn this layer off and this layer and go up to File, Save, or Command S. Don't save as, just File, Save. Now you can switch back to your start file and deselect, turn the money off, turn the Vector Smart Object on, and click on that layer. And it should apply, but it hasn't. So I'm going to try this again. For some reason, this step has to be done twice. Why is that? I'm not exactly sure. But we will do it. So, choosing the Vector Smart Object, I'll go up to here, Edit Texture, hit OK, and up comes another Vector Smart Object. I'm going to close this one, just so things don't get confusing. And I already have the money in the clipboard, so I just need to go to Edit, Paste, and the money comes up. Once again, with this layer chosen, I go up to 3D, Create Painting Overlay, Wireframe, up it comes. I turn this layer off, press Command S to save or file save. Wait for it to finish saving, click back over here, and there the money has been embedded into this puzzle piece. And if I go to 3D and choose Current View, I can orbit around and get a sense of what this looks like. It's really a fantastic effect. There's the money. Next, I'm going to click on the Smart Object Extrusion. Then I come up to the Properties panel, and in Diffuse, I remove the texture, the current texture. That takes a little time. Once I do that, I click back on Extrusion, and now I'm going to load a texture. And right away it opens up this folder, and I'm going to find the one that I used on the desktop. This is the one you want to use. And I believe this one will do. You're going to use the stack texture. This is a picture of the side of money stacked up. Select it, choose Open. And you're using a lot of the power of Photoshop in this tutorial, so sometimes Photoshop will run a little slower than you would like. Right away I see the stack texture has appeared, and I'm going to change bump up to 100%, and that gives an added effect of depth to that texture. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is choose Vector Smart Object and come up to 3D, and I'm going to split this extrusion. And so now it's going to split this entire object up into the separate puzzle pieces. And it's giving me a warning. Hit OK. And now you'll see your 3D has changed a bit. I want you to uncollapse New Group and click on this first Vector Smart Object. And you can even collapse it, each of these. These represent all the separate puzzle pieces. Now, let's close this. Right now I see that this one is selected. I'm going to click and drag and move it out. I could move it up. If I hover around, I can get to a rotate. Rotate it on the y-axis. Rotate it. Ooh, I'm scaling it now. I don't want to do that. I'm going to click undo. And so, in any case, you can now move these separate pieces around. I'll click on the next one, and up it goes. And I'll skip down. Let's check out this one. And maybe I'll rotate around this way. Oops. This is a good time to get kind of familiar with the way Photoshop allows you to move these objects. There are some limitations. Collapse that, move to another one, and there we go. So now when I'm done, I'm going to click on Current View and hover around and take a look at my creation. See, whoops. Maybe get to a lower view. There we go. So that's a way to create a stack of $100 bills, in this case, cut up into puzzle pieces. And I'm going to save this. And again, look back at the steps for more information about 3D processes in Photoshop. Thank you for learning.